No, we'd have been halfway done.
That's all right.
It's Friday. The show has no credibility. Oh, hey, welcome, America, to the Eric and Rodney Show with Robin, presented by Offensively Creative and Dinsmore Steel and Valari. That's too many things. It's too many things. I'm America's sweetheart, Eric Ryan. I own Offensively Creative. That's Rodney Steele. He's Rod, the PEO god. He owns Dinsmore Steel. And this fella right here, Jeffrey Dahmer. The Filipino Jeffrey Dahmer. He's in charge of Valari. And ladies and gentlemen, from UpContent, Scott Rogerson, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Already a pleasure.
Oh, it's been fun, hasn't it? The 10 minutes in the green room. Isn't that so much fun? Talking about Pixie
good times.
Yeah, it's what we do here. So Scott, you may be one of the few people that's never seen this program. We're huge in the Philippines.
Oh, I've been binging it. Right after the Jeffrey Dahmer series.
Poor man. So you know that we cover the news in the first half hour because America demands our opinions on such things. Then we talk about you. But before we get to that, I don't know if you know this, but every day in the United States, some reason to celebrate, some happy day. It's usually Apple Day, which is today, but I didn't go with that one because it's too obvious. Today, this is near and dear to my heart. It's World CRISPR Day. Are you fellas familiar with CRISPR technology?
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
No, you have to fill me in.
Okay, Robin, this is gene editing technology. So they sequence the human genome. What they're able to do now is edit it. So it's in its infancy. It's the Nintendo Entertainment System of gene editing technology at this point. But we're going to get to the Sega Genesis. What they can do now is they can edit orphan genes. So diseases like Fragile X and Huntington's, that's a single gene edit. If they can fix that, then you don't have that disease anymore. And what that means is as the technology advances and gets more better, that's a scientific term, you're going to be able to make babies with blonde hair and blue eyes, 6'5", who could bench 600 pounds. They're going to figure it all out. You're going to design our children.
So technically, we can print more Tom Brady's. Is where
we can print more Tom Brady's.
That's correct. Yeah.
This is what I was thinking. We've given religion 2,000 years to make humanity better. It's failed. It has been a total fucking disaster. What I suggest we do now is give technology a shot. So my question to you, my question to the panel is, if you were to have a child and they say to you, we can make a perfect being, we can make sure that they never have depression, they're never sad, they're smart, they will never be diseased, they will be you can edit out violence, you can edit out greed, you can edit out stupidity. You could make a perfect person. This is going to happen. The toothpaste is out of the tube. Would you do it? Rodney, you go first. Your kid. You gonna edit your kid? Or you gonna roll the dice with nature?
I think I just rolled the dice.
Yeah, well, things have been going fine. I don't know. Yeah. All right. So you're having a fucked up kid. What about you, Scott? Would you?
I don't know. I mean, so we've got 3 already. So I'm trying to think about that, right? And I think the concern is if you edit it, then it's kind of your fault, right? At least now you kind of have the whole well, hey, that's just the way they are.
Nature versus nurture. Yeah, exactly.
It's like you're the asshole who made me super violent. You chose that color and you mixed it in.
Right now you have
the wall colors right, let alone pick that stuff.
You have plausible deniability right now. If your kid's fucked up, you can be like, it's society. But if you choose the editing,
it's just genes. It's the mom. It's not me.
It's a roll of the dice. What about you, Robin? Are you going to create a perfect child?
No, I'd roll the dice because I don't think there's any greater accomplishment than being a good father.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
Wow.
No,
but maybe I'd make him look like Tom Brady. That's the least I could do.
Maybe just give him Tom's looks and Tom's arm.
Yeah. That's it. Well, Tom seems like a nice guy too.
He is a nice guy. But listen, we're all nice guys.
Where's my giant Tom Brady head? I have a giant Tom Brady head.
I can't believe it's 4. He always keeps it close, Scott. In case he has a bad dream, he hugs up to his pillow.
I do. The problem is my gene edited kid was playing with it and he didn't fucking put him back. If I edited him, it would always go back.
You would have changed that.
I would change that. Here's the thing, though. Nothing will convince you that humans need editing more than doing the news every day. Like, we are a vile species. I really think we need some help. It's really fucking bad out there. So, here's the other thing about this is that women in science and math, they always get a bad rap, right? We're like, we got to get them more into STEM. Do you know 2 of the founders? That's Jennifer Doudna on the left. The French lady on the right, I'm going to butcher her name. It's Emmanuelle Charpentier or some shit. But they were instrumental in creating a technology that's going to fundamentally change history forever, human history. And no one talks about this, except for me, because I'm a feminist. Know what I mean, Robin? I love the ladies.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay, well, that was my little spiel on CRISPR. Gets me all excited.
Got you all crispy.
It gets me crispy. I like to get crispy on a Friday morning. Can I ask one other thing? So I play bar trivia sometimes on Thursday nights. Last night we did a second place finish, but we only got in second because I got the last 10-point question right. I was the only one in the bar. Would you guys like to hear it? See if you can come up with it?
Yeah, tell us.
Okay. Man. In 1971, this man won the World Series MVP and then died in 1972. Nothing? Oh man, I'd fucking crush in here. Roberto Clemente flew into a fucking mountain.
Oh, I should have known that. I'm in Pittsburgh.
I know. That's why I was leading you there.
I feel thank you. Failed on that one. Ooh,
one MVP slams into a mountain and you can't remember his name. Unbelievable.
You didn't say the
one MVP part. Too many.
There you go.
May Roberto. He was bringing like relief supplies. He was a humanitarian mission. I know. Terrible.
Which brings me to our next point. No good deed goes unpunished. Every time I do something nice, something bad happens. Right? I mean, I'm just stating the obvious. Right? I'll give you an example. The other day I was trying to do something nice. Yeah. And I was carrying something out and the damn trash bag broke. I said, you kidding me?
Yeah, just like Roberto Clemente.
Well, same level.
At the time, the convenience was, I was like,
I know. It's tough. Right? It's hard to be a good person, I guess is the point.
It's not good. It's not easy.
All right, Robin, what's in the news? So speaking of, this is just a slew of awful people doing awful things. So let's
no, it's not that bad.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
Well, it's America. What do we got?
So in the Philippines, I've had pleasant encounters with the Barefoot Bandits. Very notorious group here.
Yep.
In America, you also have bandits, and they steal the one thing that is like the most American thing to steal ever. So over the course of a year across 3 different states, about $4 million worth of oil has been stolen. So they're nicknamed the Chick-fil-A Bandits.
Chick-fil-A. Oh man, I'm so glad you said Chick-fil-A, because there's one time in college you went to a Chick-fil-A and one of the kids was like, "Well, you want to go to Chick-fil-A?" I was like, "What the fuck did you just say?" He didn't belong in college. And you just did it. Chick-fil-A. It's Chick-fil-A.
There it is.
Anyway.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. So people are out here stealing Chick-fil-A oil. Here's the story though. They're renting a U-Haul, going to the same Chick-fil-A. They've hit it 4 times. They're stealing 800 gallons worth of used sunflower oil. Or peanut oil. I don't know what the fuck it is. But then they're selling it for $2,000.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the price is pretty good.
I'm sorry. Who? I'm so confused. Who are they selling this to?
That's my question. So they're stealing. Okay, ready? They're stealing 800 gallons worth of used peanut oil. Okay. They're getting $2,000 for it. Now you got to factor in. I don't know how much is a U-Haul. Is that like $100?
I could tell you.
Like $20 an hour
for a day. Yeah, for an entire day, it's like $50.
$50 a day. Okay, so the margins are there.
$49.95 if you don't take the insurance.
All right, so you still walk around with $1,950, but 800 gallons for $2,000. That's only $2.50 a gallon. Milk is more expensive? Gasoline is more expensive.
Gasoline is certainly more expensive. My goodness.
Yeah, they don't leave that outside the store. You just drive by and pick it up. You can't just go, gallons of milk don't sit out there.
I would think, there's better ways to do this. Somebody needs to let these criminals know. In my second point, to your point, Rodney, my question is, who's buying? Why is there a black market for used Chick-fil-A sunflower oil?
You know what? I think it's all coming together now. I've gotten a conspiracy. I figured it out.
Yeah,
it's the catalytic converter gang, and these guys are working. It's a ring. They're working together. We don't know what they're doing. They don't either. But it's here's the other question I have, right? And I'm just brainstorming because I used to work in fast food in high school, if you can believe it. And oddly enough, we used to fry things, which means we used to have oil. Are there other places other than Chick-fil-A, or is Chick-fil-A the best used oil? Who knows?
I don't know, but they've hit up this one Chick-fil-A 4 times. So maybe get a camera? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe Ocean's 11 is involved. The other question is, it sounds like an inside job. 4 times?
No.
It's certainly
they just leave it out, by the back door at a certain time.
Seems like someone on the inside making minimum wage.
Someone stole the oil again.
I have a suspect. Do you want to see my suspect? And no one's fingered this guy yet. But
there it is. I couldn't get Clemente, but I knew it was coming up next.
That makes sense. I'll tell you what it is, because Grimace has his license now. So
it was just his birthday, right? He had a big celebration.
He's 16 years old, so he can be. Although now he can rent a U-Haul, so Grimace might be involved. I also think he might have had some help from the Fry Guys. Do you remember the Fry Guys?
I miss those guys.
Those were guys.
The Fry Guys.
Not the yellow one.
I didn't think so. I was going to say she's a fry lady.
The fry lady. Yeah, definitely. I don't know what this guy's up to, but something tells me he's behind Chick-fil-A robbers. He's a criminal mastermind, Robin. You
don't think the king has a hand, do you?
He's royalty.
This is why they have
he doesn't get his hands dirty.
He sits back in the back of the Chick-fil-A in one of those booths and just with a dark shadow. And
exactly.
The job is done. So
he's the man behind
from the shadows, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I love it.
All right. What do you got next? You made me pull up this fucking video. Is this what we're doing now?
Yes, finally you have it. Okay. So what we're about to see now has been hidden from the public eyes for a few years, and for good reason. It's because this would cause people to panic. So the Pentagon's released footages of Chinese jets coming very close to U.S. jets. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit difficult to say who's in the wrong because technically it's happening in international airspace. So here are the scary statistics. It seems to happen a lot more than we think. It's 180 incidents since 2022.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
China's fucking with us, and this is one of the ways they fuck with us. So here it is.
This is Chicago's very own WGN News at 9.
Newly released videos from the Pentagon show Chinese fighter jets buzzing U.S. surveillance planes in the Pacific. In one incident, Chinese Navy pilots flew to within 15 feet of American aircraft patrolling international airspace. The Pentagon says these risky maneuvers are part of a concerning trend by China. There have been more than 180 intercepts in the last 2 years, more than in the entire past decade. The videos were released ahead of an annual Pentagon report on China's military power.
It seems kind of dickish, but then I was thinking, what if it's, how people in Jeep Wranglers wave to each other? Do you think this is just a jet thing this thing? Yeah, just two pilots in the air.
Was that Tom Cruise? Because it looked like Tom.
I think, if it wasn't Tom Cruise, we got to get Tom Cruise on this because something ain't right in the skies above. Where's this, Robin? Where are they flying?
China.
I don't know. Right? Somewhere in Europe or Asia.
Somewhere up there.
Somewhere there.
As long as it's not over South Carolina, because they've had enough jet incidents lately.
Rodney from South Carolina, aren't you?
Not from
North Carolina.
Robin asks, where is this at? Is somewhere only we know.
This plays into the next story. Go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, so I'm just worried there's going to be a trigger happy pilot, and then the next thing you know, nuclear winter.
Nuclear winter.
But we won't know about it, so it won't matter. It'll be a nuclear winter we've never experienced.
No, we're out. Certainly, the northeast of the United States is going to get. I think we're prime target.
Yeah.
I think I've realized I don't know the definition of intercepts. I always thought intercepts was like actual action happening, not just flying close.
Is that what intercepts is? Oh, we're so dumb.
They said 180 intercepts. I thought there would be more action if there was 180 intercepts.
I guess intercepts is just.
I heard the word intercepts last night on the TV, and it was they were shooting things down. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. Intercepts.
Yeah. You learn something new every day on the Eric and Rodney show with Robin.
I know a lot about interceptions from the Jets. I've learned quite a bit about interceptions from the Jets.
Mac Jones had 7 in 3 games. That's not how you play football. Why is he so bad at football?
The opposite team's like, get this man a jersey. He's on the team. You're the backup. Get on in here.
It's not good. All right, so this plays into the next thing, which is countries kind of fucking with us. So, Robin, what's the next story?
Yeah. So I usually don't take Fox News stories seriously. So we might have to take, especially when they're about politics. So we might have to take this with a grain of salt. So if you haven't seen it in the press, Putin's recently visited China to talk with Xi. And they're talking about how his envoy might be holding nuclear briefcases.
There it is.
So everyone's freaking out.
The nuclear football. This is small dick energy showing up to a meeting with your nuclear briefcase, you dork. We know you have them. Stop it.
Is that a Samsonite?
I think you can.
You think they've made more than one?
Yeah, I know. How many nuclear footballs do you need? Do you check that or do you bring it right out? You got to put that on your lap, right? The nuclear suitcase.
Yeah, I missed the whole handcuff thing. Seeing the chain on the. And the guy in front must feel really bad because his nuclear briefcase is way smaller than the other guys.
Yeah, he
has the instructions to the big one.
He's got the code to the second briefcase.
I have a question. Didn't we find on our side? Didn't we find these in Joe Biden and Donald Trump's bathrooms?
In his shitter. They're in the shitter.
No, they found him in Joe Biden's the glove box of his Corvette, right?
Yeah, I think so. Also in Donald Trump's shitter. I don't know why that phrase tickles me so much. But okay, I have a lot of questions about this. I have a lot of questions. And I don't think we have answers. So I'm just going to pontificate on this. We were the first one to have nuclear technology. Were we not?
Yeah.
Why did we let other people have nuclear technology? It wasn't.
I don't think we let them have it. I think they took it.
They just figured it out.
Yeah, but why don't we say if you start building a bomb, because you don't make one overnight, it takes months. We would say if you build one, we're going to drop ours on you before. Because here's what we know. We know that 10 bombs will usher in nuclear winter that'll kill every species on the planet, right? 10. These are the numbers on the planet. There are 12,000 nukes, 12,512 nukes. Russia has 5,889. The United States has 5,244. China has 410. France and the UK have a few. Israel has 90. The only country that has a reasonable amount is North Korea at 20. You don't need more than 10. Why the fuck do we have 5,000 of them? That seems fiscally irresponsible.
Here's a crazier question. Why does Russia have more than us?
Well, once again, you only need, oh shit, I think I got kicked off. You don't need that many.
Yeah.
Now I gotta come. Exactly. I'm frozen. I gotta come out. So talk amongst yourselves for a second, but just run those numbers and think long and hard about it. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Well, so the other thing is, how many does Iran have? Do we know, or do they have any?
I don't think they let you know.
No, I think they're going to tell us.
Keep secret about it. So a lot of people ask, and I think Rodney included, like, why don't we just send someone to take out Putin? Well, the reason is because that's exactly what he wants. He's going to threaten nuclear winter with his death. So, like, the Kremlin is ordered to play the nuclear card
when he dies.
Yeah. So everyone's kind
of. But I got to be honest. I feel like their technology is not where, because like they were showing tanks in Ukraine, and that stuff was from like the 70s. I feel like our stuff might be better. If it's not, there is no excuse because we spend a lot on military stuff.
And I think that's probably part of the building all those bombs. It just keeps some, U.S. jobs going to manufacture all that stuff.
That's right.
Oh, hello, I'm back. What did you talk about?
Now we just fixed the problem. It's all sorted now.
Yeah. Oh, you fixed the problem?
Yeah.
Okay. I had another question though. Hold on, everybody. I think this is worth discussing. Oh, here we go. Production value.
It's about Destiny's Child's second album because I'm not into it.
Oh shit, that is what it was about. Fuck. Do you want to just move on? Let's look at this chart, shall we? Look at what we have here. The United States defense expenditure is $877 billion. I don't know if you know this, but if raw numbers, we spend more on defense. Well, we spend 40% of the globe's expenditure on defense. Now, you take a look at the other country combined. The last, I don't know if China's not necessarily on our team. Russia's an enemy. I mean, India, I don't know that we can count them as our friends. Probably not Saudi Arabia either. But we certainly have the UK, Germany, France, South Korea, Japan, and Ukraine. They're all on our team, right? Do we need to spend this much money? And if we are spending this much money, why are we beholden to a madman carrying a briefcase? Do you know what I'm saying?
Here's the other question. I feel like Ukraine should be on our side because we're funding them.
I was just going to ask that. I wonder if this double counts, right? Or if it's actually we need to move some of those blocks over, because if we grant money
exactly
spent on defense, is that actually our debt?
What about Afghanistan? We left a ton of stuff over there. I mean, the Taliban had never seen so many weapons. They said, my goodness, we found it. They hit the mother load.
Well, the other weird thing is, right, a lot of that money, it's not like it's surplus, it's all deficit, which is usually funded by some of those other blocks on the left-hand side. So really, it's China who's spending $877 billion on defense spending. We're just the ones who are actually spending it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it, either? Here's the thing I've said to my father, too. My father is a retired colonel in the Army. I go, listen, all right, we're going to spend $877 billion. We're not going to have affordable healthcare. We are not going to have affordable higher education. Our infrastructure is going to collapse. I'm okay with all of this if this $877 billion means that we're not beholden to a madman with a briefcase. But yet we are. Why are we could spend $100 and be in the same position, couldn't we?
Well, Robin actually told us why. Is because Vlad said if anything happens to him, to hit the button.
Yeah, well, that's a problem. Don't we have a drone? Don't we have a drone with a pistol taped onto it?
You know what, though? I got to be honest with you. As I think about it, right? Think about this now. Let's say you had this man running the show. He's a tyrant, a psycho. He's been very mean to you. He's insulted you multiple times, and he's just died. And you know that if you carry out that mission, you're going to die. I'd be like, you know what? I'm on it right now.
Yeah. There's no.
He's dead. We're fine. It's out. Right?
I agree. I totally agree with you. There's no Mountain Dew riddled hillbilly that we can send over there just to fucking kill Vlad. There's not one.
Or a SEAL team.
Or that. We have
maybe all the SEAL
those are two options, viable options.
Send them both over. See what happens. Whoever wins.
You know what I was thinking is we could send over all the pedophiles.
Yep.
And Kyle Rittenhouse could lead the gang, and Jared from Subway lead the charge.
What about your raping hordes of? Remember the raping hordes that were coming across the border? Do you want to send them over there too? We'll just get everybody.
You know what though? We found out that they were rapping. They're rappers.
Rapping hordes, not raping hordes. See,
sounds like Amazing Race, season 32,
which was the best season. I really enjoyed that.
We talk about often on this show, Scott, that if you may remember in 2016 or 2017, there was a horde of Mexicans that were making their way here. We haven't seen them yet. We don't know if they stopped, taking a break. They're still walking. Maybe they got lost. We're not sure.
I think they came up and looked at what was on the other side and were like, it's not worth it. This isn't what I expected. Around. Yeah,
they watched Fox News for an hour and MSNBC, and they said, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, no thank you. Never mind.
Smart choice.
Yeah, indeed.
They heard our Chick-fil-A's don't have any peanut oil, and they're like, "Well, fuck this, back to Mexico." All right, what's next in the news?
Okay, these are a little bit more light. So I'm guessing none of you have been on an AirAsia flight, because if you had, you probably wouldn't be here. So to give you a little picture, it's kind of like the Ryanair of Asia.
I love Ryanair.
This is actually like the best LinkedIn Lunatics post to date, because so he posts a picture of himself getting a massage during a management meeting. And he's just kind of naked.
I gotta say though, when you're built like this, you got to take the shirts off. You got to free those nipples in the corporate offices. Don't you? Look at this.
This is the boss man. Who is this guy? The pilot.
Yeah.
He's very what?
CEO of AirAsia.
Yeah. Scott, what'd you say?
It reminds me of like E Honda, from the original.
E Honda from Street Fighter 2. Yeah. No, he's got some E Honda vibes.
Same kind of build going on.
I think he looks like a mix between E Honda and Blanca. That was the green guy, right?
That's right. That's right.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so he posted this on LinkedIn. This was a LinkedIn post. I'm sure it got a lot of likes. But somebody said, don't you think the women in the office would feel uncomfortable? I got to tell you, I would feel uncomfortable if your boss's nipples are this is the women. What about us? This is what we're all.
Yeah. What about us? That's right.
Yeah. He still looks very tense, which is a problem. Right?
He's coming off an 18-hour flight. That's how he justified getting a little massage.
Is he flying commercial?
Well, he's the Richard Branson of Asia. They used to hang out in the UK. Yes, he's definitely. And there's one other piece of information. He bought the airline that he owns for 26 cents. It was bankrupt. So I think it was one of them sweetheart deals, but that's not bad. An entire fleet of aircrafts for 26 cents.
Wow. Yeah, and he's got that nice frosted glass back there too. So he kind of got it all.
I mean, I got to be honest. That's not a fire sale. That's just idiots. 26 cents. My goodness.
26 cents too. I mean, do you think he negotiated that down? Was it like 32 cents? And he was like, no, I'm not paying more than 25. And they're like,
too rich for my blood. That is too much.
You know what happened? It was 25 and he threw him a penny for their troubles. Get out of here.
There you go. Or they found on the floor on the way out and we're just like, we're going to count this.
It was the change under his man boobs. He found a quarter and a penny. And it was like, how's this for the airline? They go, deal.
Done.
And I got to say, we got to get this guy on the show. 26. He owns a fleet of airlines and an airline for 26. Is that a monster jacket over there?
No, it's almost like.
I have two questions. So it looks like there is a Aldi's bag there, and then why is the massager wearing a apron or dressed like a Cracker Barrel employee?
I mean, I would wear as many layers as possible if that was my responsibility.
And there's no gloves.
That's fair. The other thing I was thinking though, like Robin, I don't want to pull the Asian thing, but is this Malaysian culture? Do you know this? I mean, are they they're kind of your neighbors, right? Do you whip your shirts out?
Yeah, no, not during a management meeting. This is kind of weird.
Okay.
This is new stuff.
Because I feel like a lot of times we pull the white savior thing, like you got to keep your shirts on during meeting. Maybe in Malaysia it's normal. I don't know.
It's not.
Okay. Posting it on LinkedIn was a bold move. I mean, like, I don't know. He is sexy. He's at least an 8.
It's very shiny. Very shiny.
He's very shiny.
Is there like oil involved in that? Do you think it's just the flight that caused that? I don't know if that's natural or additional applied.
He's glistening.
He's glistening. Oh, well. He owns an airline. Do we have any?
For 26 cents.
It's a fucking steal. Do we have any more stories? I forget.
We have one more, yeah.
What is it? Oh, never mind. I remember. Sorry, I was kicked out for a few seconds there. I lost my.
That's right. We had to.
Yeah. You still want to?
We had to man it our own.
I do. It's almost Scott time, but it's not quite Scott time. So yeah, let's do the last one.
Okay, it's the last one. We're in 2023 now, and time again, the media keeps trying to lie to us about, how to get fit. So this article is titled "The Diets of Chris Hemsworth, Mark Wahlberg, and Dwayne Johnson." So it goes on to talk about the routines, like, Mark Wahlberg, he wakes up at 3 and sleeps by 8. The Rock, he wakes up at 4 a.m. and consumes 8,000 calories. Honestly, like if you're spreading this kind of misinformation, it's kind of a crime because like if the average dude ate 8,000 calories, he wouldn't look like The Rock.
He would look like the owner of Malaysian Air, I think is
that's exactly right. Yeah, 8,000 calories. I believe it or not, that's a lot of calories. Yeah.
This guy and Dwayne The Rock Johnson have the same diet. All right, let's go through him. This young fella right here. You familiar with his work? The Rock, multi-time WWF champion.
This is a look.
Yeah, well, this is what he looked like in 1999, and then he started eating 8,000 calories. And look at the man today. Holy shit. I know, 8,000 calories. Then we have
to go to the gym.
Well, like, isn't he? I mean, he's not a spring chicken anymore.
No, I think he's almost 50.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
Garrett, you're right. The difference between crazy and eccentric is there
you go.
Money.
That's right.
Just like it's very hard for The Rock to sexually harass you. It's very easy for me to sexually harass you. You know why? He's rich and famous, and I host this show. That's a big difference there. All right, 8,000 calories. Then we have this guy. Like, all right, he is ripped.
Wait, was that really him there before?
No, it's Fat Thor. You didn't see Endgame? He was depressed because he failed to kill Thanos, so he went through a bout of depression.
No, I didn't see these shows, but this isn't real, right? I mean, he doesn't really look like that.
No. But this was a big controversy because Fat Thor was meant for comedic relief, and fat people got upset. Like, come on, will you stop it?
They couldn't identify with him. Is that what you were saying?
No, he's an American Thor. Well, now we can't have that. That's fucking outrageous. We need a Norwegian Thor. Look at this man.
I mean, he looks like he's in better shape there. That's for sure.
Well, he went back to his home country.
He's turned a corner.
He stopped eating Chick-fil-A. Then we have this fuckface, and I'm not really sure why this guy's famous. All I know about Mark Wahlberg is that he wakes up early in the morning, and I'm sick of hearing about how early this fucking guy wakes up.
He doesn't sleep,
right?
No, but can you wake up at 2:30, or are you just staying awake until 2:30? That's
you know what else is annoying about him is he's always doing these. He's always like launching these brands, like has this brand Municipal, and then it's him in the gym talking about it, and it's always like it's very annoying. I've had enough of Marky Mark.
I've had enough of Marky Mark. He had one shitty song and 50 shitty movies, and his burger place isn't that good. Like, I just don't know why he's famous. I mean, he's like, and he's a Massachusetts guy. So, like, he was on the field during one of the Super Bowl wins. What the fuck are you doing there? He's terrible.
Well, he was instrumental.
He was instrumental. He, right before Byron Leftwich was.
I was saying, he's like Byron Leftwich. That's right.
Well, you know what it is? Is they used to listen to Good Vibrations right before the games. That was.
That's Brady's hype song. I mean, it's my hype song. And then we have Zac Efron. That guy's ripped out of his mind. I don't. This is on the Baywatch set.
He's the guy from High School Musical.
Maybe.
Looks like he's done a lot of musicals.
Well, he said he didn't eat carbs for 7 years to prepare for these roles. 7 years without a carb.
Wow.
Yeah, I just don't know why we're praising eating and sleeping disorders, and it's like so frowned upon to just admit that you're on the juice.
Oh, yeah. You don't think this
guy's it,
Robin? Nobody said they weren't getting sleep.
Yeah, it's a big correlation versus causation challenge, right? Oh, if I wake up at 4 a.m., then I'm going to look like this. Well, it's not really just that. So you can't.
No. All you have to do is wake up early and eat 8,000 calories, and you'll look like
good. And you're solid.
So what if you wake up at 4 and then go right back to bed?
Which I think 8,000 calories is just like 13 Big Macs a day. Which you could do that.
I could do that. I could do that right now. I don't know.
Like four per meal, and then maybe one right before bed.
I don't know that I could do 13 Big Macs, but I could certainly do 10 Whoppers. I fucking love Whoppers.
Yeah.
One right before bed. That's great. Right before you brush your teeth, you have your last.
You're going to get up very soon anyway, so you might as well get yourself a head start for the next 13 you got to get into.
If your wife starts bitching, you just go, I'm trying to look like the fucking Rock. All right, you stop it.
It's a regimen.
Leave me alone.
God damn it, woman. This guy too, though. They mentioned that his wife found him a personal chef. The chef happens to be a Michelin-starred chef. So, like, why do we?
Convenient.
To your point, yes, exactly. Very convenient that he has a Michelin-starred chef living in his fucking house, making him salads, which seems like a waste for Michelin.
That does seem like a waste for salads.
Yeah, the Kardashians get theirs from up the street.
Well, that's much better. The Kardashians are national treasures. They figured it all out.
They did.
But you're right, Robin. This is an unrealistic expectation of men, and I'm sick of it. It's hard enough being a white male in the United States.
Can I just say this, though? I don't just say this. It's not unrealistic, because here's why I say it's not, right? Yeah. It's as unrealistic as people thinking they're Thor. Like, if somebody said to me, why don't you look like that? I would say, because I have a real job. That's why.
Yeah. That's what My kid is obsessed with The Rock and often asks why I'm not as big as The Rock or as strong as The Rock. And I try to explain to him I am, but also it's his job. It's his fucking job. Although I'm not this good at my job. Like if
at least he excels. He's found something he excels at, which is good. Good for him.
No, good for him. He's made something of himself. This young man came from nothing. He came from turtlenecks and fanny packs, and now
hey, the fanny packs are back in. Maybe he's the one who brought them back.
I've heard that about fanny packs.
They are.
It's crazy. Yeah. All right, Scott, we did it. We got to the you portion of the evening. You excited?
We did it!
Hey, well done. Well done, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, we covered the news. Now everybody knows what's going on in the world. All right. So I'd like to start with you telling us your origin story. Your how did you get where you are today on this very episode? Run us through the whole life. Birth
Not
to now.
intentionally.
That was all an accident. I know.
It was all.
He was trying to join. He's trying to join a Zoom meeting.
Wait, this isn't.
The wrong code.
Oh, this is a problem. I'm late now.
It's all right. It's almost over.
Yeah. So I mean, UpContent, which is the current company that I founded and created back in 2017, came from a marketing agency that I was running. So it really wasn't intentional. It wasn't this like grandiose vision of waking up one day and saying, I'm going to start a company and eat 13 Big Macs and look like The Rock. It was more of our team was spending a lot of time looking for stuff and wasting a lot of time looking for stuff. And as an agency, right, time is the only thing that you have to sell. And so if you use it on other things that you can't sell, then you're wasting that resource. So we looked for tools that could help us find external content that was focusing on the industries that our clients were in, that made us look not like idiots and made them look intelligent, like thought leaders and people who knew what was happening in their space. Couldn't find anything that did it, right? There were a lot of Google Alert type tools out there, a lot of feed reader type tools out there, but nothing that would actually help to surface the right article to use. And that's really where UpContent came from. But again, it was really just to have the agency have higher margins. And then because we didn't have any money, we launched it inside of a social media management tool that could let us use their API to share it. 6 months later, that tool came back and said, hey, we just shut down our thing that does something like your thing does. And we like what your thing does, but we have to ask you one question since you're this, 20-person agency in Pittsburgh. Are you for real? It was like a Ghostbusters reference. I was like, if somebody asks you if you're for real, you should say yes. Right.
Yeah, and so, yes.
Yes. So we said yes. And they're like, oh, great. So you need to now build out all this stuff. And then I was just getting more and more distracted from the agency. It was, nice business, but linear business, right? A lot of people involved, not really a people person. And so the technology was much more interesting, even though it was making, 0.5% of the revenue that the agency was making. Yeah. And so then decided to spin out UpContent to its own and did like an equity swap with the agency equity holders who laughed, right? Because we were leaving a actual business with a technology that wasn't a business. It was making like $11 a month or something like that. Like, good luck, sir. And that's 2 Big Macs, though.
I mean, if you're
that's right. So I'm on my way.
That's 3/4 of a sub.
Yeah. What happened to the $5 footlong? That's annoying.
Jared
ate them all.
There you go. Before that, it was consulting, and then did some work in private equity, and so yeah, very random walk. Not a clear. Here's the career path that got me here.
But that would be a weird career path.
Do you like content or no?
I don't like a lot of content. But I do like. That's a really good question. I do like being able to show and start a conversation with content. I don't like writing or creating content, but I'd much rather say what we just did for the last 30 minutes. Hey, did you see this thing that happened? Let's talk about it. Like, what's everybody's thoughts? I like the hot take because I think you learn a lot more about the person with the hot take rather than them trying to be Shakespeare in every blog that they write. And you're like, wait, that's not you.
We're too dumb to be Shakespeare, so all we have is hot takes. We have lukewarm takes. We have it was hot a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this:
it just cools off quickly. That's the issue.
That's right.
Yeah, it's nothing like cheddar cheese, which stays hot for a long time. If you okay, so we're kind of agency owners. I mean, right. I mean, we are. I am Rodney. You have a it's agency-esque. So your pivot to something that's more like a product. This is my issue. I'm obsessed with scalability and finding something that I can sell when I'm sleeping. Because here's the problem with an agency: you get more clients, you have to hire more people that make more money.
Stepwise function, right?
Yeah. So we bought the agency from the previous guy, and he was obsessed. Like Forbes would come out every year and show the most successful agencies. Then you look at the head count, and it no matter how you did the number, everyone's kind of making the same because, again, more clients, more people, more clients.
That's right.
So was that a conscious decision to go to something that was more productized?
It was certainly that was a factor in it, right? The enterprise value. It's hard to make the enterprise value of an agency worth any more than 1 to 2 times its revenue, right?
Yes.
But certainly on a technology, if it can be successful, meaning profitable, high growth, you see much greater multiples on that. Even if the revenue's lower, right? You can still ideally exit for more with a software company than you could with a service.
Of course, because if you sell as an agency, what do you say? You're just selling your clients. There's nothing else.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And there's a lot more risk, right? It's the people inside of it that tend to make the wheels go. And so unless you have a huge agency, you have some single points of failure distributed throughout that agency that if they leave, big issues, right? Or you have high client concentration. And if that client decides to shop somewhere else or, thumb you down on price, you have a problem. And especially if you're selling it, right? Then all those relationships have to transfer over successfully as well, which they'll discount the enterprise cost because of that. Because if you leave, Eric, well, everybody and everybody likes you. If I step into your seat, they're all going to hate me because I'm not you. And then half of them are going to leave and I have to go find another half and bring it in. Well, why don't I just start an agency myself then?
And that's exactly right. Yeah. All right. So we're all on the same page. Good. I'm glad. But you found your thing. I'm still looking for my thing.
Yeah, but it was an accident. So maybe that's the thing. You just close your eyes and see what wall you run into next. And maybe.
Well, I was thinking about divorce pies. We can talk about this later, but yeah.
All right. All right.
It could be the thing that I do. Well, wedding cakes, huge business. Half of marriages end in divorce. What do you get? There's no divorce pastry. Divorce pies.
Yeah, you got to. Let's see. The problem with divorce is it's not recurring. You got to find something that's recurring, right? Maybe more than just twice or 3 times. You got to do something that happens on a. Maybe
that's why you got to. If I told him to market it instead of people, you market it to divorce lawyers.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah,
they got the
they got what I need.
Clientele.
What's that? There's a company that does a really good job on the pets side, right? I forget what the company is. Is it Chewy? I think maybe that.
Chewy,
subscription service, right? You get everything, but then if the pet passes away, they do a nice little painting and they say, how much they appreciated the dog being there. Yeah. And so then you go and tell your friend, like, hey, you should sign up for this, right? So maybe there is a way. You just tell the next divorce, say, hey, if you end up deciding, at least you'll get a pie out of it.
That's true. What I could do too. So Robin's never been to the United States, but he has gorgeous triceps. So I think what he could do is sleep with a bunch of married women, cause divorces.
That's right.
Then pie. I think we need to bake in sort of the reason to send my.
I think it's a virtuous cycle you're creating then, I guess.
Exactly.
Right.
Sell the
monetize everything all the way around.
It seems like a lot of work though. Like what's the price point on the pie?
Well, is Robin involved or not?
Because the customer acquisition, if Robin's included, I mean, it's going to be like a couple of $1,000 pie.
It's going to have to be a very expensive pie.
I mean, the good thing is you don't have to do. There's not much market research, right? Because it's all public filings, so you can find your customer list.
That's right.
Super easily.
That's true.
You don't need to do much.
It's all coming together.
Hey, you need to use, exactly. The numbers. That's interesting. All right. So I have a question. So I watched your demo. So you can curate. So twice a day, your shit runs through 270,000 publications.
Yeah, correct.
Updates, new articles.
That's right.
Then what I would do is share that out. It makes me look like a thought leader. And then there's a banner that goes back to my stuff, right? So my branding never leaves the thing that I'm showing you.
Correct.
That's smart because you could get distracted and then just go.
That's right. And there's a lot of research, right, that shows if you share a mix, right, people think more highly of you and therefore they're more likely to come back. But as an agency owner, that like fuzziness, it's all working together, only takes you so far. So you have to be able to measure that traffic back. And we believe that having that banner there, not in a like, you have to fill out this form first before you can read a Forbes article. That won't work because that pisses off Forbes and the person trying to read the article. But if you have the banner sitting at the bottom, just to remind you that, hey, I'm the one who took you here. If you want to learn more about me, come back. That banner will also execute any retargeting pixels that you already have applied as well. So even if they don't come back, they'll see your branding for the next whatever you've set up, 60, 90 days.
That's smart.
Very smart.
So yeah,
we're in the same boat because I think we're trying to convince more people to do shows because I think with AI, everyone's going to be able to write constantly about whatever the fuck, right?
Shows are great.
They can't do this yet. I mean, someday they'll be able to do this. Like, there'll be fake versions of us doing this. That we're not here yet. But you're doing the same thing, which is like everyone knows that thought leadership is important. No one has time to be a thought leader.
That's right.
So you kind of have to figure out different ways to present yourselves in the light.
Right. Right. And this goes back to Rodney's question about content, which is why I was pausing. Like, I hate crappy filler content. Right. So do you like content? No. And I think the old adage of, and this was when I was in the agency world, it's like, oh, you need to just create blogs, drive all traffic to your website, never share anything else, make 6 blogs a week. Right. Well, what am I going to say 6 times a week that actually makes it worthwhile? What I'm going to end up doing is, let's write an article about what is SEO, what is social media, right? And there's 8 bajillion other articles out there that say the exact same freaking thing about what is SEO. What we should do instead of sharing what is SEO or rewriting that is only write the stuff that your agency, your service has a unique perspective on. And instead of just throwing that out a week later because you did the email blast and the one social post about it, share other articles that other people have written that are connected to your core asset and use that banner to drive more people back to that asset. I think that's the way that we're going to see things happening going forward, especially now that I can just ask a stupid robot to write a what is SEO article that's going to look very similar because all it's doing is the exact same thing that your team was doing, which is Google search, read a bunch of crap, and then shove it all together and republish it. You got to write stuff that's unique because if that's the only thing that the robot can't create are unique ideas. And so that's what your content should focus on. And that's why I think these videos, podcasts, those are really going to be the key assets to your point going forward. But you can't do 6 of those a week either, right? No. Or most people can't. You got to find ways to monetize that and get more people to watch it because that value of that episode didn't die after 3 days either. So that's where we want to see organizations go, is get content into the hands of the people in the organization, because we know that that's a better conduit as well for them to share their views on what's happening in the industry, lifestyle, and your own original content, and drive more traffic back to the firm.
I think it makes a ton of sense too, because attention, like we need people's attention. Here's the thing I try to convey to clients too, is that you're not just competing with your competition when you're online. You're competing with sports scores and porn and OnlyFans and Candy Crush. It's like, it's attention, man. So the more you're going out there with shit, the better. And it has to get creative. You can't, to your point, just keep writing the same shit about what is SEO. So a hot take on an article that's being fed to you, that's less work for you, but it could go a lot further. So I think as people in this space, we have to get more creative.
It's almost like a source of inspiration.
That's exactly right. Yes. And it makes usually the reader, we see on average twice the engagement rate on that external article than on the internal article, even if it's the same content, because I have an innate curiosity. Why did Eric share this article? What's going on inside of this article that makes him want to share it? Whereas if you share something from your agency, I have an implied assumption as to why you shared it.
That makes a lot of sense, because when I was doing my research, you said that in one of the podcasts. Yeah, you said third-party articles is twice as much engagement? Is
twice as much, yeah. And that's on the brand channel. It's even higher if the individual is sharing that content, which is where we're seeing most of the business now drive in professional services industry, like Rodney on the PEO side, right? Get the people on the team to share the article so that they are the trusted resource that client's going to want to go to and ask questions of. But it can't just be insurance content. It needs to be lifestyle content as well, because they're human. And
the other thing I would say too, right? I agree with you. The other thing I would say too is that it gives you inspiration, but then in additional, you can kind of gauge, like, for example, I feel like if I write a blog, right, and I say, hey, check out my blog, they're like, of course he wants you to check out his blog, right?
Exactly.
It's probably not going to be good. But if I say, hey, listen, there's a great article in Forbes here about whatever it is, right?
Exactly.
They're going to be like, well, he didn't write it, right? Obviously, I didn't write it. So I think obviously there's value in it. Right. 100%, you nailed it.
Yep, that's exactly right.
That's exactly right, yeah.
Is there value in the hot take? Is it like, all right, this is a Forbes article and here's my blah, blah, blah?
Oh, so much better. So much better.
Okay.
Yeah. The hot take is the way to go. And we have, right, there are certainly customers of ours that fully automate the whole thing. And now with generative AI, they can even have the post be automatically generated on the curated article that's going out so that they don't have to touch anything. But I would say that 5 or 10 minutes a week of getting everything to the front of you. Like, here's 5 articles that we're recommending that you should share. Pick 3 of those 5 and do put that hot take, because the challenge is if you don't include that, when I actually talk with you for the first time, I feel like a little bit of a disconnect, right? Like, wait, this isn't the same tonality or messaging that I saw on your LinkedIn profile. I'm talking to a very different person. And so I want to see that tonality between the two as well, right? And make sure that, oh yeah, this is the guy. I feel familiar with you already. And that makes your sales cycle get a lot shorter, because I don't have to do the dog and pony show a bit of like, do we match personality wise before I provide you this service? You already know that.
See, again, I think we're in lockstep here, because that's sort of what the show too. Like, if our prospects at this point kind of know who we are by virtue of this, if they ever watch. But I think that's very important. I think Caesar's right too. Caesar, actually, he's coming on the show, but we had a vetting call yesterday, and he said the importance of the hot take, independently of all of this. Well, sort of like, yeah, you have to be out there and you have to have an opinion. Like,
yes.
Robots don't have opinions at this point. We have to concentrate on the shit they can't do. And the hot take, thank God, is one of the last.
That's exactly right.
Exactly
right. But you don't have to go to the default of let me write a listicle every time I want to give a hot take, right?
With emojis.
Yeah. Here's all the different. I read 5 articles this week, and I'm creating a blog about my thoughts on 5 articles that you have to go and read the blog and then read the article. Like, skip.
There's going to be a little bit of work, right?
Do you think it works better? I have a question. I like your idea. Do you think it works better if somebody says, "Hey, listen, these are the 3 articles I checked out this week. I think you should too," and you do a video of your hot takes?
I think that's great. I think that would be really cool.
But do you think that's better than text?
Oh yeah, video versus text, because you did touch on.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I do. I think it's more of a time allocation challenge, right, for a lot of people. I do think that, and I think some people get afraid of getting in front of the camera, but even like a Loom or a Vidyard, just being like, hey, I'm just going to turn it on and I'm just going to go off for 5 minutes and share it. I think that's great. We see a lot, to your point, Rodney, of people finding, sharing the hot takes, and then automatically grabbing the top 3 out of those 5 hot takes and putting it into an email newsletter and sending that out to their audience, kind of what you may have missed. And so it just depends on how much time you can allocate.
I think that's very smart to do a newsletter. Yeah.
I think now you have those AI videos of you just like record your face in different angles, and now they make those AI. Yeah. I haven't really caught on yet.
Right.
We're starting to experiment with it here.
It's
nice.
Happening.
There's a lot of good ones for training videos, right? Like demo videos and stuff where he doesn't
we
have
use
to
Synthesia. We actually use Synthesia now as an agency to explain like processes, forms, whatever.
This stuff's so cool.
You know what's great about the hot take too? I don't mean to interrupt, but before Rodney came up with the genius idea of doing a daily LinkedIn live show, my idea was I reviewed marketing podcasts. So it would be, I'd listen to it and then do like 3 hot juicy takes, and I try to make it funny and shit. But podcasts are like an hour long. And then doing all that shit, like, I could read an article in 5 minutes. You know, like that's you sort of.
Well, that's a really good point, because we hear that a lot. Like, oh, well, isn't video the channel of the future, right? It's like, yeah, for your stuff, it is. Like, for assets that you're creating, absolutely is. But I don't want to go and share somebody else's video and make somebody listen to it for 35 minutes and then get my hot take, right? I'd much rather share that Forbes article, give them the chance to thumb through it real quick. And honestly, most of the time, all they remember is that, hey, Rodney, did you see that article that Eric shared yesterday? And you're like, oh yeah, it was pretty good. Where was that from again? I have no idea, right? But Eric's the one who shared it. So I'm attaching the value that I got from that article to you, not necessarily to the publisher, right? Because you're the one who gave me that value.
I could use some value too. I'm pretty valueless. But the other thing I learned from covering the podcast was if I @tid the guest and the host, and then added their 2 businesses, my reach, I don't know if the algorithm might have changed, but holy shit, did that work well. So I think if you do that same thing, the hot take plus the author at Forbes or whatever the fuck it is, it's more. Oh, there's some good cheating. That's not cheating. It's whatever. Bending
it's
the
not
rule.
cheating. But I think the big piece that we see a lot then is then they forget to put in the stuff that's going to actually bring value to their company, right? They get too far off the reservation. All they're sharing are hot takes. They've got this big audience. And it does nothing for them, right? Because they're not introducing to that now stimulated audience what I can do for you. They're forgetting that piece, which should really be still at least a quarter of what's being shared, right?
But you baked it in with the banners and the pixels and everything else.
Yes, you can bake it in. That's right. That's right.
How many, so you totally abandoned the agency.
So
you just
abandoned seems very harsh. It makes me cry a little bit.
You gave it up for adoption. You just left it on a doorstep somewhere.
Yeah,
you left
exactly.
You left the good wood to go for the great.
Yeah. Yes.
Does it feel good? Are you trending in the right direction now?
I mean, it's been good. I think the last couple of years, right, were really good for technology. Obviously, things just macro wise are getting tougher for many organizations, which can be seen as a positive, right? If you're a more silver lining guy, which I'm not, but it makes things interesting now because people are trying to evaluate. For many cases, it's a person who's doing this work for many organizations now, right? To find stuff and share stuff and get that content to their team. And so on one side of the coin, we can be a helpful way to get that person to do more valuable stuff for the organization and not have to spend time going through Google Alerts. So that's good. But certainly budgets are tighter across the board, right? So we're trying to make sure, like you said with the banner, that we can prove value. It's not good enough just to like enjoy having it around. So it's a good stage for us.
What's the magic amount of times you should share a hot take with an artist? Is daily? Is it multiple times a day? Like Gary Vaynerchuk says, I have to post 75 times a day or 75 times a minute. Feel like that's 24 hours a day.
I mean, it does vary by channel, right? I think the lifespan of a X or a tweet or whatever the hell we're calling it these days is much lower, right? So you can actually get away with sharing higher volume. Most of our customers are more in the professional services arena, so LinkedIn tends to be a primary channel for them. And in that case, like if you're doing more than twice a day, I think of hot takes, you may be getting toward the red side of things.
Too much, too many hot takes.
Yeah, and most of the time, the people who are sharing it are not the marketers, right? It is the agents or advisors or lawyers, and they've got other shit to do, right? They're billable, and so we don't want to try to say, look, this is only going to work for you if you share 10 times a day, because it'll never work for them then. And where we see it work is when they share, try to get around, 2 times a day is fantastic. If you just share 5 times a week, but the biggest thing is that they are sharing something that they truly believe they want to share. They're not just sharing it because they think they have to. Because that's always seen by humans, right? That your network knows if you're just automating crap out to your profile or if you're actually the person sharing it. And so we want to make it easy to actually be the person sharing it.
Nice. And then you're doing some stuff. So this is your YouTube channel, so you're doing videos as well. Like how are you marketing? You're doing like what's your approach?
Most of our marketing is still on the thought leadership brand awareness side, I would say. No one really knows what the heck. No one knows what content curation is, right? It's not a very frequently searched term still today. We've seen a lot of change where third-party content used to just be the filler material back in 2017, right? It was just like, I don't have anything to post tomorrow, so let me just go find something. It's become a lot more strategic, which is great. So, but no one knows that there are tools still that can help with that process. It's still, everyone defaults to manually having to find and share their own stuff. So we have to go up that hill of making people know that there is this idea of a content curation software industry, number one. The best way today that we've had success is through partners, whether they're technology partners who are kind of baking us into a solution. So, hey, you're trying to get your whole team to be more active on LinkedIn. Here's great tools for sharing content to LinkedIn and scheduling it out. But you don't have content to share. And so they will tend to recommend a tool like UpContent. We also work with a lot of agencies who will include it into their programs and either have their team manage it to save them time, like the original purpose of why we existed, or give it to their clients and say, hey, we're going to handle all your original content. You're the expert. We've set this up for you. Can you please click one of these 3 buttons once a week for us? And that'll really be helpful. So those tend to be our best channels rather than just direct selling.
How much would it cost for you to recommend that people share out the Eric and Rodney show? Can that be a thing?
Well, that's a really good point. That's a really good point, actually, because there are technologies that are quasi-competitive of ours that will charge the individual user to find the stuff, but they'll also create this promotional offering, right? So that the stuff that comes from people who are paying them shows up higher. And so we've been pretty strict about, look, we were only going to take money from one side, and the side that we've chosen to take money from is the users who are leveraging the tool. We're always happy to add more sources to the index, but we always tell those publications that, look, we're not going to juice the system, right? If people are searching for content that matches yours, it'll show up. If it's the most relevant, it'll show up. But we're not going to guarantee anything. So, and right now it's just text-based content. So the show, again, we would say is best to be shared by the creators of the show because on the third-party side, with text, it's a lot easier to comply with fair use and still provide a good user experience, right? I can take you to the Forbes article. It's obviously Forbes. We can overlay if I take you to a YouTube channel that's not mine, I have no idea what the hell else is going to show up around that channel. It's very hard to make the connection for the traffic to come back to my site. And with imagery as well, if I kind of strip out an image and just share the image, there's a lot of copyright challenges there if I don't show it how it's intended to be shown. So right now we're staying focused on text, third-party text-based content. Obviously, if there are images and videos in the text, those will show up as well. But we tend to recommend to our clients that we agree that video and imagery are very engaging, but those should be your assets. You shouldn't really be sharing other people's stuff, at least not as a big piece of what you're doing.
Well, listen, when that changes, we're going to talk.
And it may. So yes, we definitely should.
Do you have certain clients that are just crushing it, doing everything right, and then other clients that just, if you're just like, will you just fucking share stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I wish the ratios were. I mean, I think we still have a majority of very successful customers, but there's a learning curve, right? Especially for large organizations where they've just been so used to the only thing we would ever share is stuff we've written. And if we were going to share something else, we would have written it already, right? We're the best. We have a huge content team because we work with a lot of large organizations and they are creating great stuff. And so there's an immediate defensiveness when you say, maybe you should share stuff that your team didn't write. That team tends to be very aggressive initially of like, well, we wouldn't have written it that way and we wouldn't say anything like that. And like, but that's the point, is that you wouldn't have written it that way and you wouldn't say it that way. Because if we only share stuff that you would have written and you would have said, then what are we learning, right? And particularly for your employees, they're going to stop sharing it, because and you've probably seen these employee advocacy solutions, right, come into vogue, where if you've got 100 employees and they've got 1,000 followers, look how many followers you could reach with your blog if you got them to share your content. It doesn't really work if that's all that they are allowed to share.
You know what the thing is? We're under the tyranny of logic, and if logic was going to solve every problem, it would have by now. But when you look at like Liquid Death comes out, like there's no. If you went to a seltzer company and said this is what heavy metal, right? Fucking skulls, flaming, murder your thirst, they'd be like, that's what we're just here to drink. We should talk about the oceans and spring water and
wellness,
no, man,
hydration.
Fucking different. Then you get attention. So the logical thing is to share your shit all the time. But if you share your shit all the time and everybody else shares all their shit all the time, then what you should do is the opposite of that. But we're big dumb idiots who,
it's like McDonald's, right? Like imagine showing up to that meeting and they're like, listen, this is the pitch. We got a clown, a hamburglar, a purple candy corn. And the rest of the gang's here.
It's gonna work.
There's a criminal that sells cheeseburgers. Why? Stop asking questions. Mayor McCheese is gonna lock him up. Mayor McGoo, shut up.
We're promoting crime to children. Perfect. It's gonna work.
And then in 50 years, Grimace is gonna have a 16th birthday in 60 years, and it's gonna be huge. It's gonna blow up. They're like,
set aside the money now,
right?
For that purple milkshake when it comes out.
Yes, why people don't do illogical shit? Like, oh my God, logic isn't solving these problems. You got to do interesting stuff,
or at least try it. Right? That's what the beauty of digital is these days. You can just try it. Don't spend 4 weeks discussing what may or may not happen. Just try it, measure it, and then decide if you want to keep doing it. It doesn't need to be that hard.
You can do anything. You can have a show. Like, imagine, this is what I say to people. 50 years ago, if you told anything, like you could just have a show and target your exact demographic through the magic and power of something called the internet, they'd be like, everyone does that, right? I'm like, no, not everyone does that. They do the same boring shit everybody else does. They'd be like, why? I go, because we're all fucking idiots. Right?
Yeah, it's wild. It is wild.
You can have a show and talk about Chick-fil-A peanut oil theft. And it doesn't matter. You can just fucking do it. It's crazy.
Right. But the good thing is, like, now if somebody were going to want to set a meeting with you and talk with you, they kind of know what they're getting, right? They know what they're up against. And it's not like, oh, you're just straight laced. Everything's beautiful. Here are the 4 bullet points on what SEO is and how you should build your strategy. Because how does that differ from the next guy? Right. And so I think, and you only want to work with the people who you feel like you want to work with as well. You don't need to work with everybody. True. So this is a good self-qualifier for them as well to say, I don't think this is right. Or this is absolutely the guy I want to work with.
100%. I mean, just tangentially about the show. In the beginning, it was family and friends, and then like we just invited everybody on. But at this point, if when you invite somebody and they watch the thing and they say no, perfect, because you were going to be a shitty guest, we weren't going to like having you on. So like The self-segmenting thing is beautiful. But
really good.
Well, a lot of times they'll be like, what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, yo, take care.
Yeah. So many bullet points. And can you imagine what those bullet points would have been for this one? To be honest?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'm getting into on this. That's the best way, because then you're the most authentic. And I think, to your point, the only thing robots can't do is authenticity.
No, they can't do human authenticity. Right. Unfortunately, a lot of humans now are very robotic. But for the few of us that have personality, I think there's still a space in this world. So we're gonna wrap up. But you want to send people over to the old website? The demo
come on over. If you talk to that little purple guy in the bottom right, it's not a robot; it's a person. So it'll probably be me or someone on my team. So if you want to save some time in navigating and have some questions, just pop in there.
Beautiful.
Happy to chat.
Well, Scott, you're great. Thank you for coming on. Don't log off. Let's talk in the green room for a couple minutes, but I do have to go because LinkedIn cuts us off now. Oh shit! But we're still on the rest of the things. Anyway, have a lovely weekend, America. We will see you on Monday. Goodbye.